We are trying to collaborate with Nepal Police, Nepal Army, and CIB and all that. I was only 35, so 34 years old. Did not feel very comfortable taking up the role of a principal then. People don't pay you for the work you do. People pay you for the responsibility that you take in. When I discussed the idea about getting a premium university from the UK to Nepal to Softwarica, 95% people did not believe me.
What I really like about IT is I have been very vocal about it. So, for example, if you are in your first semester, you can start making money with the education you had learned right away. For example, if you are pursuing a doctor career, if you are pursuing an engineering career, you will not be able to practice it even before you get a degree.
Yep.
Or let's say even after getting a degree, you need a license.
Mm-hmm.
But then I know I started to make money on my second year.
Mm-hmm.
So that's something that I really like about the whole IT system.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not about the degree anymore.
Mm-hmm.
It's about the skills, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's what makes the whole IT scene right now pretty hot, isn't it? Because half of the juniors that I know
Mm-hmm.
from different sources, I think 5 years back it was engineering.
Mm-hmm.
Right now it's IT.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody wants to get into information technology. Everybody wants to get into IT. And one question that I have not been able to tell them, which I want to ask you.
Mm-hmm.
So, what is the distance between distance education, franchisee education, or a direct education? I don't know if there is something called direct education. What is something that Softwarica is and Sunway is selling?
Well, there are three different kinds. You're pretty close to it. There are three different kinds of education. If you go to a particular university in the UK, in Australia, in the US, that's a direct education, right? So you go to university, you actually sit for the university classes and all that. That's one model. The second model will be the franchise one. So these universities, they actually provide license or agreement to an institution like ours to deliver their courses here in Nepal.
So it's a franchisee.
It's a franchisee, right? And the third model would be the distance learning one. The distance learning one is an asynchronous mode. So meaning that all the lectures and everything is delivered to a particular student wherever that particular student is. That student could be in Nepal, could be in Australia, could be in the US, right? And all those materials will be, it's not direct face to face, right? So it will be a recorded video, it could be some PDF files, it could be all those sort of things.
And with no local expertise.
No local expertise. But there are few institutions even in Nepal. They have taken this as a learning center and they also teach, but that's not allowed by the university. If it's a good university in the UK or Australia, they don't allow the local teachers to actually teach the module.
If it is a distance
if it's a distance learning. Why? Because that might conflict. There is another lecturer in the UK or Australia sitting there delivering content to the distance learning students, and if someone else is also delivering the same content, there might be conflict, and university don't like that. So a lot of the time university will not allow the local tutor to actually teach the module in the distance learning mode. But in franchisee, everything is delivered by us.
And
right?
this is hard. I mean, like, franchisee business model is hard, isn't it? Because one of the biggest problem in Nepal is HR. Even like while doing a podcast with Simoli ma'am last time, there is a big gap where professionals are not coming to teach, and that's creating a big gap between the end products and what industry is actually looking for. So, so what I'm trying to tell you is, so definitely from where I see, franchising model is actually difficult for a local body as well, though they have been executing it pretty well with their expertise, but then it's difficult, isn't it? But then on a finance part, is it more profitable than distance learning to an organization?
I think with the distance learning, since all the materials has to be provided by the university, whoever is providing that particular education, so I would presume that distance learning would be more expensive because everything is designed and delivered by someone sitting in the UK or wherever the university
expensive
is.
To whom? To the university or the local body?
To the university as well as the local body.
Okay.
Both, right? So that I would assume, because imagine, because the cost of that particular lecturer doing all that videos and all that, right? But then if you can distribute it in mass, maybe the cost could come down
For the university.
Yeah. And in the franchisee model, as you said about lack of human resource, of course we have lack of, even Australia, US, and all these countries lack human resources in technology,
Why would
in
not?
medicine, in engineering. So we are just a small country. Of course we will have the scarcity, and that's why we encourage students to take up the IT and become somebody, right? And also when you talk about human resource, it's all about what kind of environment do you provide to your lecturers, right? So there are few people who've actually left the industry and come to us working full time. Why would they do that? It's because they do that because we've provided them the environment, the pay, and the research opportunity, and of course the development opportunity. So not all institutions do that, right? And that's why there are so many helmet teachers around. So you go take 1 hour class, you go to another institute, take another hour class, and and they'll do that for a certain time, and then once after a certain time they are looking for some permanent job, at least not in the teaching institution, because they have bad experience on it. So what we do is we encourage people who've worked in the industry to come and join us full time, and we provide them good compensation, we provide them good environment, and we provide them the research platform for them to research and to do that things that interest them academically. So we've been getting enough human resources to run our programs. I know it's still difficult, but then we're managing it
Successfully.
Yeah.
So back in 2011, how I remember, there were not many British education system.
No.
Very few, which you can count on your fingers. Right now, there are British education like mushrooming all around Kathmandu. So how do you see these competitions? Because now you are competing with a similar product that someone else is selling, isn't it? So how Softwarica is standing strong, and how Softwarica is standing different than other organizations selling similar kind of stuff, or at least promising to sell the similar standard quality of education?
Well, how we are making a difference is that the choice, of course, we've recently launched cybersecurity and ethical hacking, which a lot of local as well as international education providers do not have. So they do as a specialization, but our course is purely cybersecurity and ethical hacking,
Like
not just
full 3 years of course on that.
Full 3 years, right? So that's the kind of courses that we will be looking into in the future as well. One we already have, and
Specific ones.
Yes, and we have very good inquiry on that one.
Nice.
So and we are recruiting quite a few students onto that course, and also we are trying to collaborate with Nepal Police, Nepal Army, and CIB and all that. To get our students to get interns to these institutes, real-time case studies and all that. So we've already spoken to few. It hasn't materialized yet.
Are they positive?
Yeah, they are. Definitely they are. So the conversation is still going on, and we are having few meetings and all that, and that's my plan. So students, when they study ethical hacking, if they could study the real case, right? Not everything would be disclosed by the police, but then those things that could be disclosed, my students can work on it.
And that's an amazing opportunity.
Yes, so that is the kind of difference that we are doing. And also last time we held an IoT event as well. I think you are probably aware. Internet of Things. And for one model, students built all these models. And we had altogether 80 models. There were smart cities, smart pond, smart doors, smart bins, various sort of things. And 3,000 people visited to see those things. And imagine just one module, one project, one module, 15 credits. Right, so it's only about 20% of the 1 year course.
I can imagine the level of investment that went there.
Yes,
it was pretty huge.
Yes, and that's the kind of thing we are investing on. If you come to my office is not very fancy, right? So we do not invest in offices and nice sofas and those kind of things, and secretaries and all that. The executive members of Softwarica or even Sunway, we do not have any particular secretaries, all those kind of fancy things, and we spend those resources on students, right? And that's why we are standing out, and we are the biggest recruiter of IT students in the whole Nepal. Right? Biggest student recruiter in IT in whole Nepal. I can proudly claim on that.
That's huge,
right? So
and with zero number of students without job.
Yes. Again, I say that I don't have anybody. I mean to get them some companies and some jobs and all that.
What possibly could be the best best case scenario than to not have any students without a job.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
people hounding over
Yeah,
you.
people hounding on it all the time, all the time. And
I guess now you have to increase the number of students you intake.
Yes. We are adding on.
Not for the profit, but because for the people.
Well, it's for the profit as well, and you know, so
Definitely.
the private education sector. It's not just about profit. It's about you know, making a difference and you know, creating people and kind of satisfaction as well. And I'll tell you one thing on a. You know, it's not the only profitable business that we could do. We could do other things which makes a lot more money than this one.
With
Because
less amount of.
Yes, the team that we have, we could do anything to make money. It's not about making money. Of course, you know, we have to survive and we need to take a little bit of money as well. But we could do a lot of other things that makes twice and 3 times and 10 times as much money as this one. Because see, education is you need to invest and reinvest and reinvest and reinvest, right? So it's only like it's been 1 or 2 years Softwarica sustained, just sustained, making a little bit of money, right? So in the past 6 or 7 years, Softwarica was actually making a loss every year. And imagine the kind of patience that you'd need, right? So to kind of wait for 7 or 8 years, even 10 years.
To make a profit.
Right? So it's not about profit. I mean, of course, people, you know, business need profit, otherwise business will collapse. And but then it's all about your satisfaction and the longer term vision and longer term goal.
And making a difference.
Yes, and we see ourselves as being a university in the long run.
Nice.
Right, so we already planned out for that. And since Nepal do not have any concept of private university as of yet, but I think there have been discussions going on private universities and deemed universities, as they call it in India.
So right? if Softwarica is going into a university, you guys would not be collaborating anymore with like you guys are collaborating with Coventry, right?
Yes.
Isn't it?
Well, we would collaborate with Coventry University for quite a while, for a long time, because you know, even there are other universities in Singapore and in Malaysia and all that. They are all working with bigger and better universities in the UK, Australia, or US. So that could be the model that we might follow. In the longer run, maybe after 20 years, when we become our full-fledged university, then we might have our own thing. But to get that expertise, we should work with this university at least for a decade before we can decide on going on our own.
Okay, moving on. Lately, there has been a huge wave of entrepreneurship, being a job creators, not being a job seeker, and I have seen a lot of people even seeming 9-to-5 job, isn't it? And it's very hypocrite for me for an entrepreneur to see him a 9-to-5 job, because every of his team members are working for him for his vision 9-to-5, 9-to-6, isn't it? And talking with you, someone who entered a company as an employee, and right now you are one of a proud shareholder of the company.
Yep.
So you have climbed the ladder, or your corporate ladder, and then right now you are as a position wise, you are also director and principal of Softwarica. So how does it feel? One question, and the other question is, what would you tell to everyone who just want a founder beside their name?
Well, especially in Kathmandu, you know, there are so-called entrepreneurs backed by billionaire fathers, right? And even if they lose 1-2 crores, it does not matter.
Not a big deal.
Not a big deal. And then you can always go to your dad, I lost 1 crore. Not a problem, get another crore. Do something else.
Do something else.
But become a CEO.
Have your own company.
And these people are very few, right? And these are the people who come into media. These are the people who kind of go into programs and post, and this is, you know, I have 25 employees. I'm a startup where I'm doing this, I'm doing that.
There's a whole whim of entrepreneurship and entrepreneurs coming right now in Nepal, and it's pretty hot. It's cool to be an entrepreneur right now.
Yeah, I mean, because of them, and you are an entrepreneur. Imagine the pain that you're going through. I could see it in your eyes right now.
Thank you so much.
You are going through such a pain. I know that. I've been there myself.
True.
Right? And you just make this very fancy because of these people. Because you know, they have nothing to lose. They're already rich. They have billions and billions of rupees, you know, as a backup. Account. Right? So, and it doesn't matter if you lose 50 lakhs, but for an average person, for an average student, even if that person loses 5 lakhs, it's a big pain, right? That could be the savings of his father, lifetime savings of his father.
I think it will take someone his whole life to even save 50 lakh.
Yes. So and these people make it very sound like it's very fancy and it's very easy, and it's the thing that you should do, right? And since you are an entrepreneur, is it easy? Is it fancy? It's not.
It's not, sir.
Right?
It's lonely.
Can you take a holiday, 2-week holiday?
So the on that question, I remember on last 365 days, I have taken a 1 day leave.
Yeah.
Because I had to drop my dad to airport because he was flying abroad.
Yeah, there you go. I mean,
and you know how easy it is for me. Like people like a few of my teams, like if they have a bad day, I think I'm not be coming today. Shall I take a leave? And I don't have any other options to be okay. Bye. Take care of your health. See you tomorrow. And there has never been a day where I can text someone, bro. I think
you can't text anyone that you are not coming because you're not feeling well. For example, as an employee, if I feel down today, let's say I feel down, I just simply don't want to work. I can stay back.
True.
Right? I can chill and have a coffee, go for a swim or something, right? But as an entrepreneur, as a top business person of your institution, you cannot do that.
True.
And it's a pain. And people do not say that in programs.
They only see the tagline.
Yes, they only see the tagline, all the fancy things they're going on to the stage, saying blah blah blah, and these average kids, they are like spellbound. Oh wow, this is the thing I should do, right? This guy is on the stage, giving all these guffs and all that, right? He's become somebody.
I mean, like, it's not a bad idea to be inspired to be an entrepreneur, but then definitely you have to look at the both side of what sacrifice you got to make to achieve that.
And most of the time, these people
don't talk about because they have no experience. They have started with the 1 crore of money they got from
and they can afford to lose it. And this average kid watching that guy
do not have a complete picture.
That person will not be able to afford it. That person's life might be devastated if he or she loses that kind of money.
True.
Right? And nothing's going to happen to that particular person because he's billions of rupees in the backing.
So how did you climb the corporate ladder from an employee to be a shareholder?
Well, I started my own company, and then I failed. I started 2 companies, one with the medical equipments and all that. It was doing well because of my now I used to blame others before. Right, but now after several years, 5, 6, 7 years, and when I think about it, I was to blame. There was no one else. It was me.
True.
Right. So although I was the main investor and all that, now I think about it, it was me. I cannot blame anyone else. So I failed those 2 companies, and then I said, well, I cannot keep on failing. I lost all my money as well, and then I started doing a job. Right, and I was in the consulting company, looking after human resource and administrations, and somehow I got married, and my wife is related to technology. She's a computer engineer.
Oh, nice.
And
you're not much of a tech savvy guy, are you?
No, not that much. But then I know things.
Okay.
But I don't use it that much. I know things.
You know how to get things done.
Yes, if I want to, I know how to do it, but I generally don't. Right, so my wife, she had her Cisco qualifications and all that, and she got connected with these institutions because this is also an IT institution, and that's how I got connected with this institution because my wife said, okay, they are doing British education, you've come back from the UK, why not you go and speak to them? So I went and
Softwarica started as an institute, isn't it?
Yeah, but when I entered, it was already a college. But it was started as an institution.
So you joined Softwarica back in
2011.
2011, and fast forward to 8 years.
Yeah.
You are a principal.
Yes.
I have to tell you this story that one of the very first batch of Softwarica was my friend. So he did his A levels. He was not able to do well, and then he was applying abroad. But then somehow or the other, his parents convinced him to stay in Nepal, and then I actually took him to Softwarica and got him admitted and got him enrolled. And then last time when I was talking to him, and I said, we did a podcast for Sunway, Pramod, and he was like, Pramod sir. He knew you well, and he said, and I said, he's a principal right now, and he's a shareholder of the college, and he was like, dude, he was just an employee. And I was so impressed. I'm like, come on, that's. It does really take so much of an hard work effort to climb the ladder and to be a shareholder of a company where you joined as an employee. And I think that is something that people should be should be taking a lot of inspiration from, because right now if you see the CEO of Google, Sundar Pichai, he is not a founder, but then he is a CEO. The CEO of Microsoft, Satya Nadella, he's not a founder, but then he is a CEO. The past CEO of PepsiCo, I forgot her name, the female, she was the CEO. And I was like, and I know like running a company, running a team of 17 people, I exactly know what a founder, what an entrepreneur expect out of his team. And provided that I get someone who is really obsessed and kind of a person with the attitude of getting things done, it should not be a difficult task for me to even share equity. So I think people should get inspired from your story.
Yeah. Well, it happened, as I told you, that I kind of failed on doing 2 companies. I lost all my money, so I started as an employee, and I had interest in education though. So that's the reason, one of the reasons I joined this company. And I joined as a simple operations manager or something back in 2011, and then I tried to the first thing I did was I studied the company. What was right, what was going right, what was going wrong, who was doing what.
Because you were from consulting background,
yes,
so you had a pretty good idea of diagnosing.
And what are the things in the market that's going wrong, and I kind of assessed it, and I kind of submitted a report to the managing director in my first week of work. And then he was very impressed, right? So I went down to his office and I said, this is the things that's going on in your institution. These are the things that are wrong. These are the things we need to improve upon. These are the kind of responsibilities that I can take on. And then he happily, gave me the responsibilities, even more responsible on the same position though at that time. And then I carried on from there. And I had a very fierce argument with the principal back then, because, I kind of devised a system where the principal could also be judged.
Nice.
Right? So among students, right? So I devised a system, and obviously he was not very happy. Right? And then we had a very heated argument on that, and I was on the verge to leave the company. And then the managing director kind of intervened and said, okay, you have to stay, because the thing that you did is for the company, not for anybody else. So the thing the principal is saying is it's a personal nature, but what you have done is you've done for the company. And I said, yes, I did this for the company. Right? And then eventually he left.
Because you know what, there is a saying that a weak protagonist would not want to get measured.
Yeah.
Not want to get judged.
True. So and he left, and I kind of.
And you took over him.
No, I did not right away. I kind of took the position of chief operating officer, because I was only 34 years old. So it did not feel very comfortable taking up the role of a principal then. And I took a role of chief operating officer, and later on, even now I'm campus chief. I'm not principal, but it's the same thing. But principal sounds as if I'm a very old person. So I thought, okay, what could be the alternative? So I chose the name of campus chief myself.
Okay, so you were the one who came up with the term.
Because I thought that, okay, if you say principal, a lot of people would have this expectation that this is an old guy and with gray hair, which already I have, but then other physical features, I'm still young. So that's the reason I devised a kind of title of campus chief rather than principal, and I'm campus chief right now. It's the same thing. I could people could tell me anything, but it's the same thing. I'm leading the organization. So that's how I climbed up the ladder, and when I reached the apex of this institution, and then there was no way to expand, right? So you've already reached the top, the peak, the pinnacle, right? And then we had another opportunity of getting involved into Sunway, and then I got involved into Sunway as an academic director now, and there are
and as a shareholder
as a shareholder, of course, and there are other few initiations that our company is taking, and I'm getting involved. So I'm now expanding horizontally. Okay. Right. So initially I expanded, I sort of climbed vertically. But now, since you've reached on the top, and people think that you've reached the top, what do you do now? And same question I asked myself as well. So and then the solution was to expand horizontally. Taking on different companies. So Sunway is an example of that, and we are working on several other institutions. Several other projects as well as a shareholder.
How much of a patience does it need?
Quite a lot
on your space, on your place.
Well. It's
you need
like,
to take a deep breath.
Anup, if somebody, watches my schedule from morning to evening, I don't do much, right? I don't know much, and I'm not involved into operations that much. And when people see me, this guy is chilling, right? He stays in the office. People come and see him, and he orders few coffees, and he drinks coffee, goes out, goes out even in the evenings, and that's what you'll see as well if you follow me around from morning till evening. But it's highly stressful, right? Because the kind of responsibility that you take in.
Because you are involved more as a strategic partner.
Yeah. And even if there is any problem with the university, I'm responsible.
And the problem with being a strategic partner is, because I could relate to somehow, because I'm also looking after strategy in my business. It is not a time frame job.
No.
Even at around like 12 o'clock
Yeah.
at night,
Yes.
you might be thinking of solving a problem
Of
strategically.
course. You are with the company 24/7.
24/7.
24/7, and
Even on a vacation.
even in a vacation, I reply emails, I reply all the messages even on vacation, even Saturday, doesn't matter, even in the evenings and nights and whatever, whenever I see it. Even now there are a few messages.
Whenever you are like consciously awake,
yes,
you gotta be a player on that.
yes. So it's not about people don't pay you for the work you do. People pay you for the responsibility that you take in.
True.
Right? So I have a full responsibility of running an institution. Although I do not do everything myself. I have staffs doing it.
Of course.
Right? But then the ultimate responsibility lies in me. Right? If something goes wrong, right? If something happens to a student,
There's no one you can blame to.
Exactly.
Everyone under you has a person to blame to.
Yes.
Okay, Pramod sir.
Yes.
But then on your space, like, it's you.
Yeah. So even in bigger companies, something happens. What happens? The CEO has to come out, right?
True.
And then try to mitigate the situation or explain what happened, right?
Even if it's a mistake done by a mere employee, he has to take a blame.
Yeah, he has to take the blame. He has to answer it. He might even have to resign sometimes.
True.
Right? So it is the responsibility that you are getting paid for. It's not the actual job. You don't really do all those operations things when you get to the top, right? You just simply observe people, how things are going on, and you take the responsibility. And sometimes you coach, and sometimes you kind of train people and all that. Sometimes you hold meetings. Sometimes you look for the new business opportunity and all that. But apart from it, you simply observe that things are going right.
Okay.
Right.
So what's your takeaway from entering as a job holder and then climbing the ladder, being a shareholder? What is your takeaway to the young people who are willing to join a company?
Well, not everybody follows my path, right? So I followed a different, initially I followed a different path, as I explained to you earlier, doing business and all that. So what I recommend students is that you need to kind of get to the job work environment first before you do anything, right? And it also doesn't matter. I mean, if you want to, some people are really entrepreneurial, and I don't want to ask them to go and do the job, right? So for those people who really know that they are the entrepreneur, what happens is people know that they are entrepreneur. Deep down, I don't know how. Right? I don't know. You knew it yourself. I didn't know that.
But I tell you, even at times I suffer because I lack a proper idea of how HR works, how accounts work, because I've never worked for anyone. And right now it's very expensive. I have been paying a lot for a consultant. So at times I think if I would have worked under some good corporation for a couple of years, I think a lot of my costs right now would have been mitigated.
Yeah. And when you have a direct knowledge of HR and all that, you would kind of hire the right people and take the business a little bit up or something like that.
And I think it's also a thing that a lot of entrepreneurs think they are very so technical focused, that the technicality is the most important part, and we seems to demean this other administrative aspect like HR, and which is one of the most right now that I'm running a 17 plus people company, HR is the most important part. Technical issue will solve that out, but then it's a human issue we got to solve, isn't it? And I think I would if someone asks me a question, I think I will tell someone who wants to be an entrepreneur, definitely think of either get expertise around it, get trained, take a workshop or work for someone else, and don't ignore the smaller aspect, which eventually will be a big aspect to grow your company.
Now since you are also an employer, I mean, I don't think you would look at the technical details
Not
that
anymore.
much.
Not anymore.
Right? So if you could see somebody with the right attitude, loyalty, and willing to learn, so those are the three things people generally look at. For the technical skills, you can teach them, train them. Right? So obviously they need to be on a certain level. I mean, it's not that you pick up anybody, right? They need to be on a certain level. But after that, you look for attitude, you look for learning abilities, and you look for loyalty, you look for the teamwork and those sort of soft skills, right? And that makes a difference for a job seeker whether that person gets a job or not.
True.
Right? True. So those are the things are really, really important. So at Softwarica, at Sunway, we do the same thing as well. We look for learning attitude, we look for loyalty, we look for all those sort of side skills, which makes the difference.
And again, I think I didn't got a very specific answer for you on my past question on what would you advise to someone again who wants to get into the executive stage, but they don't want to start his own company, and so.
For somebody, you need to start somewhere, right? You need to start. A lot of graduates and these students, they are kind of, okay, if I join ABC company, that doesn't pay much, or the position is really kind of the lowest ranked position and all that. And I tell them, if they tell me that they don't pay that much, if a student says to me, and I ask him, is that company does not pay you that much. That company pays quite a lot to somebody else. And you try to become that somebody else.
True.
And that way the company pays you. Don't say that company doesn't pay. Company pays. Company pays huge amounts of money. Right?
I think one of the biggest expense for a company is on HR.
Yes. And these people, the approach is not right. So they go to a company, this company doesn't pay much. They only gives me 12,000, 15,000. Why? Because that's what you are worth.
The amount of significance difference that you are bringing is not more than that.
And the reason that you only get 15,000 rupees is because you are generating value worth 15,000 only.
True.
Right? So if you generate value worth of 5 lakh, 6 lakh, they'll definitely pay you that kind of amount.
Exactly. So for me, it would not be much difficult to share a revenue. If an employee is bringing me 5 lakh, it should not be a big deal for me to pay 1 lakh.
Of course.
Or 1 plus.
Yes. And while choosing a company, somebody should look at how they promote their employees, how they motivate the employees, how they develop their employees. One should see whether this company actually develops somebody to become someone, right? Or there are some companies who simply want to exploit, right? There are few companies
or exploited.
Yeah, or are exploited. There are most of the companies they exploit. Not most of them. Some of the companies they exploit employees, right? They give them minimum wage, and especially I think in the manufacturing sector and where
it's mostly with low skill job.
Where not much skill is needed and all that. And the companies doesn't. And for an employee, while choosing the company, they should see whether they can actually increase their skills
or grow you inside.
Yes. So that's how you should do it. And you climb the corporate ladder, and sometimes
So how do you climb a corporate ladder?
Well,
to be very specific,
you kind of find the weaknesses in the company that you're working on, and you pinpoint the weaknesses to whoever the director or whoever is the owner of the company, and then you'll tell them that this is how I'm going to do it. So in order for me to do it, you need to give me this position.
True. Because you know what, there are a lot of people in my past who have been suggesting me a lot of problems that my businesses has, but then nobody came to me and talked to me in a way that give me a lead, I'll get it done.
Yeah.
I mean, like anyone can show the problems that we have. I know the problem in my company, but then I have not been able to execute it well. I wish someone like you did. You realize the problems, you diagnose it, and then you went with.
And I went with the plan. So I pinpointed these are the problems. So this is my position. These are the problems. With this position, I cannot solve this. So you need to uplift me and give me responsibility and authority in order to solve these problems. And this is how I'm going to do it. Give me 1 year. Right? Give me 1 year. Or you don't really have to, kind of give me a permanent position. You can give me a temporary position.
Get me into a provision period.
Yes, provision period. And then if you see that I'm good for that position, then you can continue with that position. Otherwise, I can come back to wherever I was. Right? So that's how I did it. So I pinpointed the problem. I kind of came up with the plan how to resolve those problems. And obviously, for the company owner, that's what he wants or she wants.
True.
Right?
And even you risked your current position, isn't it?
Yeah.
So there are risks, even risks are not just for entrepreneurs; it's for even entrepreneurs.
Yeah, and this is very interesting. I tell this to my owner, let's say the majority shareholder all the time. I tell him that whenever he talked about risk, I took a bigger risk and all that, and I tell him that of course you did, but then I took the risk with you as well.
True.
Because I could have gone to a very stable organization.
True.
Got a stable job.
True.
Right, with all those
high-paying jobs,
high-paying you with all those facilities and kids' education and housing and blah blah blah. I could have got all that, right? But then I did not choose that kind of job. I chose something really risky, right? And worked on it. And now that's one of the reasons I'm kind of successful in this age.
True.
Because a lot of people,
are struggling.
Yes, they are struggling. Even in my age, people are asking their dads for money.
So let's say going through identity crisis or middle life crisis of what do I do? Shall I shift my career? Shall I shift my domain? Shall I stick to it or start my new business? And I think coming to the same point, it's also depend on the entrepreneurs who do not forget the roots on who were there when they were not making much, when the company was struggling, who were there to stand by them. And for a true entrepreneur, I think it's a pride to have people till the top from the ground.
Yeah, of course.
Isn't it?
Yes, and I've stuck with my employer for 8 years. I've stuck with him during the bad times. I've stuck with him during the good times.
And the bad times are coming again.
Yes, it might come. It might come. Yeah.
No, while we're scaling a company, because how I see you, you are a seeker. You'll not settle to anything that is like, okay, this is good, this is what I need. You'll always scale.
Yeah.
And with scaling, there will always come the good and bad times, isn't it?
There will be peak, there will troughs, yes.
True. And then, so that's something, and so I think right now we just talked about two different dynamics of what an employee should be and what a mindset an entrepreneur should have, isn't it? And that would perfectly create an amazing team for the rest of your life. You could stick together for the next 50 years.
And also, there is a concept called innerpreneurship where you can actually, your employees can actually practice entrepreneurship within your company.
Inside a company.
Inside a company, within a company, right? So, and that is, that's a facility that I have. I'm still an employee, by the way. I am the employee. I report to the board of directors. I'm not the owner. Although I'm a shareholder, I still report to a board of directors.
So you are playing two roles.
Yes.
One role is employee and the other role is a shareholder.
Yes. So I'm also a member of the board of directors, but I still have to report to the board of directors, right? So within the company, what we have to the senior people, we have the flexibility that we can kind of pursue an entrepreneurship within the company
Organization.
We can bring in new projects and actually work on it, and the organizer will fund it.
Nice.
Right. So and when somebody is giving, and you can have some stake on it as well. So let's say I brought the project, I can always negotiate. Okay, I'll have 50% on this. I can give 50% to the company. Right. So if you can have that kind of scenario, why would someone go to all those pains and sufferings and recruiting people, investing money and all
Starting
that
from scratch?
Why do
the
it?
system is already built.
Yeah.
So there is a saying called, if you want to build a car, you don't go and build a tire. You buy a tire.
Yes.
You buy a metal.
Yes.
You buy the aluminium.
And you assemble it.
You assemble it.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
That's how you should do it. For young people, what I want to say is that when you are 21 years old, you just graduated, you can try and you can fail a couple of times. So don't fail big, right?
Fail fast.
Fail fast. Fail a little, but don't fail big. Because even if you lose a couple of years, that doesn't matter. I mean, at this age, I'm 38, 39 now, and somebody who's 36 or somebody who's 42, it's not much. It's not much of a difference.
True.
Right? So Imagine if you are 16 years old and somebody is 21 years old. It's a huge difference, right?
When you were young, it was quite a
But
big
now
difference.
at this age, if I see somebody 42 years old and somebody 35 years old, it's the same, right? So it's okay to lose a couple of years, right? But then you need to learn. Don't fail big so that your whole ego is destroyed and you're like
Your whole confidence is
yeah.
gone.
So you don't do that, right? You can fail a little. You may be able to lose a couple of lakhs and lose some years of your working life. That's okay.
You'll get something out of it.
Yes,
Experience, definitely.
that's okay. But then don't feel big, right? So a prudent student would actually go for a job for a couple of years, and then with all that experience, that person can start his own business.
True.
But then somebody who really think that he or she is the entrepreneur, they can start as well. But don't fail big. Fail just a little, that doesn't affect you and your family. Because I've seen a lot of people, failing at 22, 23, big time.
Big time. Losing all the confidence.
Confidence is there, right? I mean, they've lost the confidence, but losing the house, losing the car, a family car, that's unbelievable. Why would you take that kind of risk? I know few people doing that. One of my friend, not a friend, I mean, is like 6 or 7 years old younger, and he lost a few crores on the international kind of consulting and education a couple of years back.
Okay.
Right? So don't fail big, right? We cannot afford to do that, right? And the whole life of that particular person I was talking about, his parents is paying all installment money now, getting all the loan from the banks, and the life is destroyed. Life is finished. Whatever money comes goes to the bank. Whatever money, it's for 10, 15 years. It's over.
There's no way out.
No way out.
In Nepal, you can't even claim back.
No, you can't. You can't. And that's one of the drawbacks in Nepal.
True. You know what? There's a realization that I have had recently after crossing 26. Now you don't find people with an age between 30 to 40 old. When you were 20, you'd find people, uncle vaishangu bhayecha 28 varsama, like that's the attitude you had, isn't it? Now you don't find, you feel younger.
Yeah.
And you find people with 30 to 40 a range of people like similar to you with the similar mindset, because these people are doers at that age of time, isn't it, with the whole energy. And I think people should also realize at 21 that you are still way younger with the same energy even after 35. So do something that will bring you a lot of fruits even when you're 35.
Yeah. Sure. That's how they should do it. And there are also, as I was talking to you last time, I mean a while ago, there are a few people, I will not take any names. So I met somebody, in a program where the person was encouraging engineering students to bunk classes and to open up their own company.
Bunk classes?
Yes. And that's what that person did. Bunking classes and, trying to open up company and all that. I know that the person's backing is good. I know that. Right? And during a program, during a talk show, the person is saying that, don't worry about classes and all that. Go for your dreams and go for your blah, blah, blah. Don't worry about engineering and all that. Right? So, and I was thinking like, okay, you might have a lot of backing. You have a lot of backing, I know. So even if you fail, your father can afford you to retrain you in engineering. He can pay you more money. Yes, and get the whole thing done and dusted. But for an average person, average student, he's like, oh, that's what I should do in order to become like this. So that is not true, right? So you don't try to be next Zuckerberg. Don't try to be
next
Elon Musk or even Steve Jobs for that matter, right? They left school because they could not find any value in it, because they were so educated. They did so much research on their own that they found that the university education isn't offering much value to them. It isn't because so I'll bunk classes and I'll leave the university to open up a company.
Elon Musk was actually someone who was so much into books that he has completely
I mean
the amount of research that goes on inside is crazy.
Yes. So a lot of people they leave university because they've already done more than the university teaches.
Exactly. True.
That's the reason they leave the university. It's not because they leave and they start a company and all that. And a lot of Nepali think that okay,
dropout is
I'm like Zuckerberg and
I'm a dropout.
I'm a dropout and all that. No. Even if you go and ask these people, they say okay, stay in the university, stay in education. They say that themselves. Have you if you see them their speech and all that, they don't encourage you to go drop out and start a company, right? So these are the examples are set, and these people, I mean the one I was talking about, the person, these kind of people come into media, and the average student is like awestruck. Oh my god, this is the next way forward. This is how I should do it.
This is my blueprint.
Yes, and it's not. So and people need to realize that, right?
And I think it's also about, with success, with entrepreneurship, with doing business, or with doing anything in life, it is a very subjective matter. How the environment would react to you, how your mind would react to a lot of things that is going around. For example, losing your parents can equally motivate you, can equally get into a depression.
It can devastate you.
True. And so you can't actually follow a blueprint made by someone else. You can get definitely inspired.
No.
That's always there. You can definitely get inspired, but then following it like with your blindfolded eyes, it does not make sense.
Yeah, and somebody said that be a student, not a follower. So what is the difference between student and follower?
Learn as much as you can
and decide on your own.
True.
Right? So you hear Anup, you hear Pramod, you hear whoever, right? And you listen to Zuckerberg, you listen to Elon Musk, or whatever, local, international, and at the end of the day, you decide.
You decide for yourself.
Yeah, you decide for yourself what's good for you. You take in all the information from all different people, because you cannot simply copy anybody's idea or anybody's speech. We are all different, right? If I'm successful on my domain, you are successful on your domain. So if I try to become you, you try to become me, we might not be successful.
We'll fail.
Yeah.
Terribly.
Right? So, but what I can do is I can learn something from you. You can learn something from
me. Or we can collaborate.
Yeah, or we can collaborate. And whatever you learn from me, you can implement into your business. Whatever I learn from you, I can implement in my business.
True.
That's how it works. So and these young people are really kind of, try to follow somebody, right? I will become like this. I will become like that. You can't become exactly like that.
It's practically not possible.
Not possible. Well. So you take in all the information, you have, you do all the research, you speak to a lot of people, and then you decide for yourself what you want to do in your life.
True. So I think we have talked a lot about a lot of things, and I think this podcast could really be a gold mine for a lot of new entrepreneurs, new industry expert, and looking for people for new ideas. So there is one segment in this podcast that I have been doing with almost everyone. So I actually learned it from this guy called Tim Ferriss. So there is no plague lies. It's not copied. I'm really inspired with that guy, Tim Ferriss. If you want to listen to him, it's a very entrepreneur focused podcast. And what he does is he asks his guest, for example, let's say you were given a billboard with, let's say, millions of people are watching it every day. What would you write for them to see it every day? Now it could be something to motivate, to inspire, and it definitely has to be something that is close to you, because it has to have brought some values in your life that you wanted to share to millions of people. So what would that be?
Well, that would be, I always talk about potential. So the biggest regret would be your unfulfilled potential.
Unexplored potential?
Unfulfilled, I would say.
Okay.
Unfulfilled, because, you could do a lot. You could become more than you are. Right? Everyone can. So when I use unexplored, it might not be possible for you to explore everything. Right? So there are so many avenues, so many things going on, and it might not be able to explore. But deep down, you know your potential, no matter who you are.
But is not potential limitless? Like you could actually do anything?
Yeah, I mean, you could reach whatever you want. I mean, let's say, if you're settled in a job and you're doing good and all that, and later on, maybe when you are 70 or 80 years old, you think, even in your deathbed, I could have become this, I could have done that, I had the potential, but I did not use it. And I think that would be the biggest regret. So what I want to say is that, unfulfilled potential would be the biggest regret in your life. So fulfill your potential. Try to fulfill your potential. Try to become whoever you can become. Try to earn whatever you can earn. Not because you need it, but because you can.
Is it about proving yourself? It's like a affirmation that you could do anything you can.
Well, I kind of, when you say you could do anything you can, I have a kind of reservations on that. You can't actually, right? That's what we tell our kids and all that, and you can become whoever you want. Well, can you become the president of the United States?
No.
Right? You can't. So can I become a president of the United States? No, I can't. In order to become a president of the United States, you have to be born in that country.
True.
And then, of course, there are other things, right? So you cannot become whatever you want, but you can become you can realize your potential, right? Let's say if somebody is doing well with a small job and have a house and doing fine, but if that person has the potential to become more,
so what if that person is happy doing what he is doing?
will he really be happy when he realizes that he did not fulfill his potential? What do you think?
So
I don't know. I mean, I don't know. When you're retired, when you're 70 years old, and when you are speaking with your, other friends, peers of similar age, would you really be happy that yes, I did something in life, I realized my potential, I did whatever I could? I don't think so. So I could be wrong. Since you said that, what do you want to say about the question was, that's my perspective. So I want to fulfill my potential.
Okay.
And
so is it something that you tell yourself every day?
Yes, I do, and I always tell my colleague that I want to see where I can go, where I can reach, right? What kind of institution that I can run. I want to convert Softwarica into private university, which is not possible now.
That's crazy.
That's crazy. I mean, if people, hearing it,
some people might even laugh at you.
Yes,
I think they have.
Some of them have, right? I want to make this a university, and when I discussed the idea about getting a premium university from the UK to Nepal to Softwarica, 95% people did not believe me. I made that happen, right? So now I'm saying that I want to make Softwarica a university.
Would not that make you a very unsatisfied person, because you had one goal, you achieved it, then you have a new goal on top of that, again new goal on top of that, because your potential would always grow, because getting a university done would also fill you up with the confidence, okay, I can do it more. So not that you will make your life a series of a very unsatisfied guy. Either you got to tell me, okay, that's the kind of a happiness, there is a happiness in unsatisfaction. Now that might answer that, but then would not that be catering a very unsatisfied mindset inside you, because you always want what's next, what next?
Well, you should think, I don't think you should think that much about the outcome. You should think about what you are becoming in the process.
Okay.
Right? So obviously you are developing yourself. You are becoming somebody during the process. So the process, they say that journey is more important than the destination. So it's the same thing, isn't it? I mean, you become a different person. You learn so much. You have so many connections. You get to experience so many things. And I enjoy the process. Right? So that will be my motivation. Of course, if I achieve one, then I'll be looking for some, as human beings, we're never satisfied. And if we were ever satisfied, you and I wouldn't even exist.
True.
Right? If our ancestors were very satisfied and they were laying, doing...
Let's just live like this.
Yes. Right? So even you and me might not have existed. Because, the human race could have been extinct.
So I think we got to dislocate, or like differentiate unsatisfaction with the happiness. You can still be happy being unsatisfied.
I would focus on the process. I would focus on what you are becoming. During the process. That will fulfill you. That's
not even about the end product.
Not even about the end product. Not even about the money. During the process, you get to learn so much. You get to experience so much, and you become a different person.
So
imagine other, before starting your company, and now, since starting this company, aren't you a different person?
I am.
So this is the process. I mean, you might succeed. You might make a lot of money in the future. But then when you really think about it, you think about how this company changed you.
True. So it's not about making Softwarica a private university. It's about who the Pramod sir would be while trying to make that make that dream happen.
Yeah, that's for me. The process is for me. The outcome is for the institution.
Nice. That's an amazing conclusion. So what you got to do? You got to bring your thing into a sentence and you got to write it here.
Okay. So where do I write?
We have 3 boards available. You can choose one.
Okay. Yeah. So shall I come and write?
Yeah. You can. Yeah. Huncha.
Okay. So,
we can write any way you want.
so like this?
Yeah.
Circle away?
Anyway.
No, it's very difficult right now. Regret, I think, yeah.
With the signature in between.
In between.
Anyway, with the date.
Yeah.
Also write the date. It's 9 July.
9 July.
Perfect. Unfulfilled potential is the biggest regret. Amazing. Okay. So we are almost to the end of our podcast episode. It was an amazing discussion, sir. I don't know how the people will perceive the content, but then this an hour and a half of podcast has definitely changed me. I've learned a lot. Thank you so much for coming, because definitely you are a doer. And for a lot of people who are watching this, I hope there has been some outcome from this, because this what we talked about in this whole an hour, this is definitely a gold mine. So get inspired, be a doer, get inspired from the amazing people around you, and there is a lot of things that could be done in Nepal. A lot of unexplored opportunities are there. And yeah, so is there anything that you want to end at the last?
Well, thank you so much for inviting here. I really had a very good time speaking to you, and it's not always that people ask serious questions. People are after all those superficial questions and usual questions. They talk about weather, they talk about how difficult the life is, and where to go in the weekends, and it's not always somebody asks me these questions. I'm very happy that you did, and the question that you asked, the things that came out of me, and I'm also happy with the content. So thank you so much, and everybody should realize their unfulfilled potential. Unfulfilled potential.
Yeah, there you go. So guys, do comment, subscribe, and share, because this is something that will really motivate us to come up with many amazing more doers, amazing content. And till next episode, you guys take care. Bye bye.